So analysts have gone through, and we know that GTA 6 is quite a large commodity, and so they are expecting it to sell $1 billion in pre-orders alone.
Hey, middle-aged gamers, we're back, and we're so glad to see you all here. It is a new year. Happy New Year from the three of us. I'm sure the guys will say the same thing as well. Lots been happening in the gaming world, especially in the last month, so we hope you loved those special episodes. If you haven't checked them out, the last 3 episodes preceding this one, they'll be all in your videos channel, because we didn't do any live shows, because Adam was away, I was away, Antoine was enjoying his holidays. But we've got lots of gaming news to start off. We have to start off with Adam's first story about the GTA 6 hype train, as Antoine put it. Adam, what's happening there?
Okay, so analysts have gone through, and we know that GTA 6 is quite a large commodity, and so they are expecting it to sell $1 billion in pre-orders alone. So before the game is even released, they're already expected to make $1 billion. And then by the end of the year, it's expected to make $3 billion, but that's going to include digital versions, physical versions, and microtransactions. And that's actually pretty significant because the game is set to release in the fall of 2025, which means that you really only have maybe 1 quarter to make that money. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to make 1 billion before the game even comes out, and then triple it within 5 months or so. So that's what they're expecting. They are expected to sell 40 million copies in the first year, and they believe that they will sell up to 100 million copies by its 5th year. And the question is this doable? Well, GTA 5 made 1 billion in revenue after just a 72-hour sale back in September 2013. So, I mean, if you can make $1 billion in one sale, I think it's safe to say that you can maybe make $1 billion in pre-orders. So this game is looking like it's going to be super big. We don't have too much information on it right now. We do have the one trailer, and they don't have a set date. They just say fall 2025. So will it release in 2025? Hopefully, but if it does come out in 2026, that's a possibility too. But if that happens, that's just more time for pre-orders, right? So yeah, it looks like this game is going to be the big game of 2025, hopefully. So I'm excited. I like GTA. I know Korean has different opinions on this, but
Well, at least, first of all, we already know who is the Game of the Year 2025, so no suspense there, right? Unless, and that's the only thing they should be careful about, is doing a cyberpunk, launch, and launch a butch game which really doesn't roll properly. Apart from this, a very bright future for GTA, of course. As I don't think any GTA has ever disappointed, which is why it makes this IP so strong. Yeah, I agree. It's gonna be a great game that I need to keep off my children's hands, because otherwise it's never gonna work. Anyway, enjoy GTA 6, kids, but remember you still need to study, right?
Yeah, I remember I bought GTA 5 and I played it a little. I think the last GTA I probably played and enjoyed was number 2. Like, this is going back however many years ago. Yeah, I don't know why. Like, I loved like Saints Row open world games, and the GTA's just never. The most recent ones were just money I spent and I just never played. I think I probably had like 5 hours into GTA 5, maybe not even that. Just it didn't work. But I mean, I can't disagree with this. I know there's so many people who love the franchise. There's so many people in our demographic who love the series. They played the very first one that was in the 90s. I remember that as well. So yeah, no, it's a guaranteed sale. I really hope it doesn't win Game of the Year. I'm not a big fan of like someone saying, yes, this is gonna win, or this should win because all the GTAs were great. Like, it should win because it's an expensive game. But again, I've hammered this point home multiple times. Anton was saying, oh, Black Myth Wukong should have won Game of the Year. And I disagree with that as well. But we'll see. Antoine, you have some exciting news as well. That's something I'm more excited about, which is the Oblivion remake.
Well, yeah, I wanted to start and saying one of the game which is not hyped for 2025 is Elder Scrolls 6. So unfortunately, you're gonna have just to eat up with, or just get excited with rumors, and that's just what it is, right? Rumors of a Elder Scroll 4 Oblivion remake. So just for you who didn't get to play this game, because it's still a 2006 game, so it's 19 years old, right? So it's kind of old. It's of course an RPG by Bethesda. And everybody's talk about Skyrim, but don't forget that Oblivion before that was a very, very solid game, which is why everybody like me was excited for ES6 up till Starfield came up, which makes me think like, oh, if you get Elder Scrolls 6 out, do it properly. That was the issue. But so that's not going to be a spoiler, but just a little recap on the story. In Oblivion, you are playing in Cyrodiil, which is the birthplace of the Empire that you're going to fight in Skyrim, or allied with, as you wish. You very start of the game, you have the Emperor 𝙂𝙢𝙢𝙧𝙩. He and his three sons get squeezed, assassin, killed off right at the beginning of the game, which is gonna create there was some kind of mystical pact which get broken, and it's gonna open Oblivion Gate all over Tamriel, or at least specifically in Cyrodiil. The game is fantastic, and I really loved it at first. So the fact that there's rumors about a remake about it really makes me even more excited than the 6, because I know it's already a fantastic game, and it's supposed to be updated with Unreal Engine 5, and we know how beautiful the game can be with it. So where is this rumor coming from? So it's coming from the LinkedIn page of a technical art director at Virtuos. So if you don't know Virtuos, like me, it's actually Virtuos, specifically the Shanghai team. They are not coming out of nowhere, right? They are very well known for their remake, for their work on several big AAAs. For instance, they helped with they did the art support for Horizon Zero Dawn. They worked on the MGS3 remake with Konami. If you go on their webpage, you will see, I could go forever. They worked on The Outer Worlds, on Call of Duty Warzone, on Bioshock collection, XCOM 2 collection, etc., etc. So, they have experience. They are not coming out of nowhere, because at first I was like, what's the relation between the Chinese studio and Bethesda? Will they have the right to use the music? Will it cause some legal issue or something like this? They are not coming out of nowhere, as I said, and they are mastered as. So we could expect that Bethesda, if that's true, is already working with them legally. So that wouldn't be an issue. Honestly, and it's not a fresh rumor, right? The first time I heard this rumor was like summer 2023, just as Korean knows, right? I'm not too big into rumors until there's some hard fact. But the fact is, this rumor is very persistent. So there might be something behind it, right? And we are at the stage where, as I say, MGS3 just launched a remaster and it worked really well. You have all this Resident Evil remaster, you have Silent Hill remaster. This is definitely a remaster period. Why we already talked about it in previous episode, but we are at a stage where launching a new IP, a new game is extremely costly, extremely risky. A remaster of a game which has already proven to be an excellent sale is a safe bet. Simple as that. So an Oblivion remake would make absolutely perfect sense. And I think, like me, a lot of players would like it. A couple of questions come to mind. So first of all, I was talking about the relation between Virtuos and Bethesda. Like in the case of MGS3, Konami put a tweet officially saying we are working with the Konami internal team is working with Virtuos on this remaster. We didn't get anything like this from Bethesda, Microsoft, or anything. So, as I said, purely rumors at this stage. But if they do that, we get Sean Bean as Martin. So, like in the game, I told you that the Emperor gets killed and everything. And the whole quest is to find the illegitimate son of the Emperor to get him on the throne, etc., etc. And this son, so Martin, whatever, was played by Sean Bean, which I found it super cool to have Sean Bean as an actor in a video game. So will he come back? Because if he doesn't, that would be, he has quite the voice and he's a fantastic actor. Again, is it just a rumor or just some desperate attempt to make us forget about the fact that Elder Scrolls 6 is not even on the horizon. By the way, I remind you that the last time I heard about ES6 was 2018, I think we got a trailer. So some people really hope that we'll get a trailer this year in the separate Xbox events and things like this. We'll see, because Bethesda... I'm not going to say that Starfield is a failure, right? I'm not going to go that far. I'm just not in the kind of people who really like it. And I know that Bethesda is really working right now in improving Starfield. So they must have different teams working on different projects, but I think they're really putting resource right now on Starfield and making the game better and with DLCs and series. So that's why I think that the Oblivion remake is a stronger rumor, I would say, than the ES6 for 2025, 6 and over. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, do you think it's more than a rumor, or would you actually like to have an Oblivion remake? Because again, that's one of these games where you're gonna sink hours like crazy.
Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, for me, I kind of feel like this would be more of a rumor. I mean, Bethesda's never, have they done a remake before? I can't think of any.
Not that I know. No.
Yeah, I
No.
can't think of them doing any. And plus there's the, I mean, granted, this is not official, but there is the Oblivion project where they're trying to recreate Oblivion in Skyrim. So yeah, and then given how long it's taken them just to do Elder Scrolls 6 and how long it takes Bethesda to come out with these games, it seems like they just don't have the resources they need, or it would just take so long to get an Oblivion remake that it just wouldn't even really be. It would just take forever. It would just be a burning their resources. So I wouldn't put too much merit in it. But if they did make an Oblivion remake, I would love to play it. I enjoyed Oblivion, and it fits my criteria of I'm perfectly okay with remakes as long as the game is at least 10 years old, and this game is at least 10 years old. So yeah, I feel like after 10 years, you've not only have you come up with technology that's much better, so you can create a much a much more immersive experience, but now I would say, in 10 years, most people probably, you have a whole new fan base that's a lot older now that wasn't old enough to do it. So I mean, this when did this game come out? I mean, Skyrim came out in 2011, so I mean that was even 13 years ago. So I don't even remember how long it was.
2006.
2006, yeah. So that's
Yeah.
18 years. So I mean, you have children that were born when Oblivion came out, and now they're legal adults. So I mean, there are a lot of
That's why.
people. Yeah,
Yeah.
there are a lot of people who probably never experienced it. Um, and I know sometimes going back and playing, it can sometimes be hard and go back and to play things that are so dated, and you're kind of like, oh my god, why did people do it that way? Like, this is so primitive. Um, so yeah, I think it would be a good game to be remade, but I wouldn't put too much stock in it actually being remade.
Well, I would say two things. First, I think the major part of the work would be to update graphic with a new engine, right? Unreal 5. And I heard that because, Bethesda use their own engine, that would be some kind of hybridized system that they did, like they did for Halo 1 and 2, for instance, which works pretty well. So there's two things. First would be to revamp the graphics, which would be solely on Virtuos, right? That wouldn't be the Bethesda's work. But also, and that's something that Adam, so Korean and I completely agree with it, nearly 20 years old game. The gameplay, especially for fighting, is rudimentary at best. So Bethesda would need to revamp this for a newer generation, definitely. So that would be on them. I think that would be the kind of partnership they would be on. And also the fact that next year would be the 20th anniversary of Oblivion. So that would be a perfect date to release it. Because as I said, the rumor is not new, right? It would have been worked on for at least 1 or 2 years, at least. And they are not starting from nothing. They already have, well, they need to revamp the assets and everything, but all the script and all the blocks are already there. Again, I'm not a graphic designer, so I don't know how hard it is to revamp every asset with a new engine if you have to recreate everything from scratch. must be a lot of work. I'm really sorry for the guys, but the story is there, and I don't know exactly how much work it would be to do a remake compared to completely brand new IP, but I imagine it's much less work. And yes, if it's not botched, again, like Warcraft 3 Reforged, that would be a fantastic game to redo. And yes, no, that's Blizzard, that's not Bethesda, yeah. So no, Bethesda is not into remake, but again, safe bet. They are not doing excellent, like excellent sales with their new Starfield IP. So they need to get back some credibility. They need to get back some money for Microsoft. So I think it's a safe bet to do.
Yeah, I'd also be
What
kind
do
of
you think,
concerned if
Kevin?
they're changing the engine. How's mods gonna work? Like, are they gonna be able to do mods as
Yes.
easily, or is that gonna be? Because I think if they can still have mods, I think it'd be really popular. But if they are like, well, we're doing this new game, but we're not gonna be able to do mods this time because we have a new engine, I think that would actually hurt it. So I'd be real curious.
No. They need a creator club. That's the staple of Bethesda. So no creator club, they wouldn't go into this project, I think.
Yes, I thought I saw this confirmed for some reason, like during the week. This last week, I thought I was like, oh yes, there's gonna be like a mod, but like I think the question I have is what I've realized is like I loved the Warcraft 1 and 2 remasters. They looked beautiful. I'm like, yes, I'm gonna play these. And then I think when I was looking at my Steam wishlist, I'm like, oh my god, I have 160 games on my Steam wishlist. Now I have like in my Google Keep where I keep all my notes, I'm like, okay, now I have a Switch game priority playlist. I have a Steam Deck game priority playlist. Then I have a PC priority playlist. And then now, like, I already know, yes, play Hogwarts Legacy, finish Hogwarts Legacy, play Avowed, finish Avowed. After Avowed, it's Atelier Yumiya, if I'm actually going to do that. And then there's just, yeah, no, I don't think remasters make it on to anyone who's been on Steam or, I mean, how old is the PlayStation Network? Yeah, I mean, like,
PlayStation Network's been around since PS3,
yeah,
so
so
it's pretty
exactly, like, if
old.
you've been buying games for the last, like, we're 40s, if you've been buying games since you're 20, there's no reason to buy a remaster anymore. This is too much other stuff you haven't played that you should play. So I think remasters are great for people maybe who've never played a game, but for us who maybe played the game and like, yes, are you gonna go back and play that? No, I don't think so anymore. I want to, but it's not realistic.
You
And
say
on
that,
that
but
note,
tomorrow
I
Freedom Wars
saw that. I was
remaster
like,
comes out,
that
and I
is
have played
awesome.
that, and I'm thinking about playing it
Go
again.
ahead, Anton.
sorry, I just wanted to say on that note, do not forget to watch Adam's video on 10 games to add to your
Yes.
backlog in
Oh, we have the
2025.
option for cards. I gotta remember to start using that in videos
Yes,
because we didn't
absolutely,
have
we
them
do.
before when we were just first level monetized. Speaking about the best games of 2024, I found this list and I was like, I was going to give this to Antoine because this was one of the things you guys were searching for on YouTube. And I'm like, oh, no, I can't even do this like the Antoine cool way of like, yes. So I'm just going to talk about it. So if you're wondering, right, what were the best games in 2024 if you're looking to add to the backlog, like Adam's video suggested, these are some games you could potentially add. Maybe you missed them. I know some of these I'm like, I kind of didn't know they existed, but I should know that. So I'm going to start with number 10, Dragon Age, the Veil God. So year to date to the end of November 2024, right? We'll only get the full 2024's data probably like towards the end of January. But from January 2024 to November 2024, Dragon Age Veil God is number 10. It dropped. So from October, it dropped. October, it was number 6. It dropped to number 10. So it's probably going to be off the list, maybe. And again, this is a game I listened to a bunch of podcasts over the holidays, read a bunch of reviews, and this was a game that was on the top 10 for most people. A few people were like, this was an honorable mention. Like, yes, this should have been on my top 10. It wasn't in my top 10 because the big criticism for this game was the story was not where it should have been. It's not like the old Dragon Age stories. It was on a lot of people's top 10 because of the combat. They're like, yes, I love this combat more than the old style Dragon Age combat. So if you've been sitting on the fence about Veilguard, you have to sort of figure out, are you Antoine, Adam, or you're a Korean? You know, do you like words or do you not like words? Simple, just as simple as that. Dragon Age the Veil God at number 10. Moving up the list, right, we have number 9 is NBA 2K5. Again, not surprising. Number 8, Sonic X Shadow Generations. Go check out. Antoine talked about that a few episodes ago, however many episodes ago. Number 7, Mario and Luigi Brothership. New on the list for that year. I mean, it just literally released, so not surprising there. Number 6, Super Mario Party Jamboree. That I'm a bit surprised about because a bunch of people were like, man, this sucks. This is not as good as the old Super Mario Party. I think maybe it was Antoine who said that. I don't remember.
Yes, but I wasn't talking about Jamboree.
On the previous
I was
one, oh
talking about
god.
the previous one.
Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't try Jamboree, so.
Okay. And then number 5, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. I keep wanting to say Sparkling Zero all the time. But Dragon Ball, I mean, this is an obvious one for number 5, right? Massive Dragon Ball community. I mean, the three of us all have watched Dragon Ball at one stage or another. There's Dragon Ball Daima on Netflix, which is, if you haven't watched Dragon Ball before, that looks really pretty. I mean, typical, interesting Dragon Ball story. But yeah, I've played one Dragon Ball game, or 2. I think I bought them on the Switch. And I'm like, yes, I'm going to play this. And it was really complicated, the controls and stuff. And I just want to be a Super Saiyan and beat people and punch them through mountains and stuff. That's the cool stuff. But it was very difficult to get there, which is why I stopped playing it like after an hour or 2. But I mean, yeah, lots of people like this game. Lots of people like the franchise. Number 4, 3, 2, and 1 are all sports games, which is the sad state of affairs. But number 4 is EA Sports College Football 25. Number 3 is EA Sports FC 25. Number 2 is Madden F25. And number 1, of course, is the granddaddy of all video games, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which makes me sad. But, I mean, not to mention this is publisher Microsoft. But,
Me too.
I mean, to me, this just doesn't make any sense, and maybe you guys can chime in on there. Like, the Call of Duty franchise has been going on for so long. I mean, year to date, right? So, I mean, the new Call of Duty didn't release in January, so like, but it still is number 1, right? Year to date compared to all the other games. And it just like, why? I mean, is this just like an age thing? Are we too, like, I know for me, right? I can't play multiplayer shooters anymore. Like, it's impossible. My reactions are too slow. I know I should have like a wide mouse because of input lag and that sort of stuff. But it's like, are these just 20-year-old people who are buying these Call of Duty games? And like, I mean, Call of Duty is still like a big streaming game, but you go to Twitch, right? Sometimes we talk about that. Call of Duty is no longer the number 1 game on Twitch. So if it's not streamers bringing people into the Call of Duty franchise, where are these new gamers coming in? Is it just like you turn 18, like, yes, I want to shoot people in Call of Duty? Is that what it is? But anyway, I'll let either of you finish that thought.
I mean,
Well,
Antoine, go ahead. Yeah.
no. Sorry. I played it simply because it was free, on the Game Pass. I don't play multiplayer, especially on this kind of game, so it was not for me. And the solo campaign is extremely random. So really, I couldn't advise this game to anyone. And trash me if you will, but I'm sorry. This campaign is completely random, and the only interesting level would have been the one which is a bit scary with the zombies when you're completely high on pills and stuff like this. Otherwise, absolutely no interest for this game. I really don't see where the hype is coming from, apart from being free on the Game Pass. Really don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I kind of get it. I'm not a big Call of Duty fan myself, but I think it's a couple different things. One of them, I think, is just the way people socialize nowadays. For younger gamers, they tend to socialize online more. And for older gamers, we have friends that we don't get to see as much because we've moved away and we've had families and stuff like that. So we're far away. We need a way to socialize online. So, I mean, this is a great way to get a team together. You're working together. There's a lot of communication involved. So, you're talking back and forth with your friends. This is just I think a great way to socialize. Like, for example, when I originally played World of Warcraft, one of the ways I described it, I was like, well, back then we had AIM or MSN Messenger. And I was like, yeah, this is just MSN Messenger, but instead of just chatting, I can chat and fight a dragon at the same time. And I think Call of Duty is in a way similar to that, where it's like a Zoom chat, but we're shooting people at the same time, right? We don't see each other, but we can still talk and we can joke around and we can have fun. So like for older gamers, there is kind of a sense of that couch co-op that we used to have when we used to play Perfect Dark or Goldeneye, where we're like laughing at each other getting killed or joking around, the same thing that you get in, say, Helldivers or something like that. And then, for younger gamers, this is the way that they've always kind of socialized. So for them, it feels a very natural. So in that sense, I think, even if it's not the number one streaming game, it's still a very social game. And I think that that's part of the reason it's so successful. Um, and I mean, the fact that it is such a big franchise, it's almost in some ways too big to fail, because it's one of those things where it's like, okay, if I really like, say, Baldur's Gate, then, I have to find people that like Baldur's Gate. If I want to play, uh, I don't know, something else, GTA Online, I have to find other people. But uh, Call of Duty is so big, I know I'm going to find a lot of people online playing Call of Duty. So I know it's probably like the law of averages, where if we have a group of friends, Call of Duty is so big, probably the most friends are going to have that game. So it's probably one of the easiest games for a large group of friends to get together. And so I think that that's part of it. And it actually does kind of lead into my next story, because the card is literally Call of Duty, but we'll get
Go
into
straight
that
into it,
then.
Adam.
All right. So, as you might have noticed, if you're looking at the screen, you'll see that I am actually referencing The Office here, because in The Office, when Jim went to I don't remember where it was, but one of the things that the team would do is they would play Call of Duty at work. And recent studies have shown that that actually is maybe a good idea. So even in The Office, they're referencing Call of Duty and they're so but Harvard Business Review did some research, and granted, they didn't have a large sample size. So some people are saying, take this all with a grain of salt, because there's not that much data on it. But what preliminary data has shown is that gaming at work can actually help uh, increase productivity and actually be good for performance. They say gaming can build cognitive, social, and emotional skills. And, Call of Duty is going to play, cognitive. You have reaction times, right? You're using your brain power. Social, the ability to communicate. And emotional, being able to not get rage quit. So these sort of things all right, I can actually help you with all those. And they say it's actually very similar to participating in sports, volunteering, cooking, and other hobbies. So, like, for instance, companies might used to do a company cook-off, or have a barbecue, or they'd have a company softball team. Well, it turns out having a company Call of Duty session is actually similar to all that. So, go ahead and play some video games at work if you're the boss and you tell your people to do it. Don't just go ahead and do it if you're not management. But they say actually the benefits also vary depending on the kind of games that you're playing. So, for example, if you guys are playing board games at work, board games encourage social interaction and engage with intellect, and they also promote a balance between competition and cooperation. So, if you're playing a game like, say, Settlers of Catan or something, it's working about, I have to beat you, but at the same time, we're making trades and that sort of thing. So, we're learning how to work together. So it actually builds those skills. If you're doing a tabletop RPG like D&D or Cyberpunk, those are going to build social interaction again, creativity, teamwork, and empathy. And it's also going to decrease general anxiety, stress, and depression over time. And it also means that players are less likely to be introverts. So, there's that stereotype that people that play D&D are loners, they sit in the basement. But studies have actually shown that people that play D&D are actually more likely to be extroverts, because they are actually engaging. Maybe they're not engaging with certain groups because of a stereotype and they don't want to be bullied or whatever, but they are actually very social. So by getting a tabletop session, maybe if once a week for an hour you get the team together and you guys play a D&D session, that can get people talking and working together a little bit more. If you may have maybe a more shy person, it might get them a little more comfortable talking to people. And video games build cognitive skills and contribute to stress management. So on the cognitive side, it creates quicker reaction times. Okay, so like Call of Duty, processing speeds, and improved memory. Whereas the stress manager, it reduces stress and boosts resilience, which means that basically, you're able to handle the stress a little bit better and not become so overwhelmed. So it turns out that playing video games, or not just video games, but any kind of games at work can actually have a positive effect on your employees. So if you are a manager, go ahead and set up some time, maybe in an hour a week or something like that, or maybe set up like a game night for the team once a month or something like that, because it can actually help improve morale and improve people's work performance. So I think that's really cool.
Antoine?
Actually, when I used to work back in Dublin, we did at FIFA in the break room. So that was great, to take a break and play some football. But now that you are talking about social event, I just can't wait to see a boss, doing a overcook competition between the team. See all the team yelling at each other and don't want to talk to each other after that. Like the sort of competition which completely backfire.
Yeah,
That'd
Noble
be
Cooper
fun.
brings up a good point in chat. He says a pizza shop in his town had a Tekken arcade when he was a teenager, and even the manager would play against clients. So not only, if you, so in this case, it actually improved the relationship between the staff and clients as well. So, yeah.
Unless the staff beat you senseless every time.
Yeah, let him win it occasionally.
Yeah, I would have loved that. But like when I went to meet all my coworkers for the first time in France, I was like, almost all of them are all like extroverted people. I don't think anyone would want to sit down and play board games or like. It's unfortunate, but I think no. But I agree. Like, I think any time I played, like I've introduced board games to like students in class and stuff. It's an amazing way for people to interact and talk and communicate. And I think that's the sort of wonderful thing about doing it in a classroom is you do have this like, hey, I'm a teacher, please try this once. And there you go, and you try it like, yeah, it's not as nerdy as I expected it to be. It's not as slow, as boring. And actually, this is pretty interesting and fun. So I can see that happening in the workplace, but I think it definitely in an established company or a startup company, it had to sort of come from top down because I can imagine, even in the company I work for now, 98% of people would not be interested in playing board games, no matter the kind of game. But I mean, even with board games as well, there's also the online stuff. There's quite a few online board game simulators that are really fun. I've played a few with my brothers. So even if you are like a remote worker like myself, right, you can still do online board games with people, which are awesome. So Anton, what is your final story for today?
Unfortunately, it's a kind of story which come back a bit too much these days. I think I talked about it like last month or 2 months ago, but again, another scalping story. So yes, scalpers are in the business even more than before, especially since the release of the PS5 Pro. So their target was not the console itself, although I'm sure some of them try, but actually the CD attachment, the disc reader, because for the price of a PS5 Pro, which is quite, as you know, very expensive, only a digital version was available. And therefore, if you wanted to have an attachment, you needed to buy the disc reader, $80 or so, I think it is, on top of that. And since the release, so there was some, like a little logistical issue before. But since the release of the PS5 Pro, the scalpers have gone completely crazy about buying the disc to resell, of course, at exorbitant price on eBay. And the US and the UK shop are completely off. Sony are completely out of stocks. Each time stocks come in are bought directly by scalpers. You have to be very lucky to get one from Best Buy or things like this. So this kind of shop where do have consciousness and sell one item per one customer, would be much better. But unfortunately, the news is it's not ready to get, the situation is not gonna get any better anytime soon because Sony is not talking about it. It's causing a lot of frustration, a bit like when you try to buy a Switch during the pandemic, right? Which was very, very hard. It's about the same situation right now for the disc for a PS5. So unfortunately, at this time, the only thing you can do is buy a PS5 Slim rather than a PS5 Pro if you want a disc reader, Otherwise, just make sure to be very patient. Don't go on eBay and buy the first disc reader at $200 or more, because do you really need it? It's even better to just buy, like extra memory for a PlayStation. It's extremely easy to add into it, and you can just download more games and just buy a disc reader when there's lower demand and more supplies. Just, beware scalpers. Do not buy from them, because it just encourages them, right, to scalp even more and to screw us players, which, well, apparently it works very well, because they are doing this very often on a wide variety of console and games and accessories and things like this. So it's very sad to see, but well, what can I say? That's capitalism for you. And yeah, so if you're a PS5 Pro player, you already spent a lot of money on your console. Save your money and just wait another 6 months. I'm sure in 6 months, a year, it's a long time to wait, I know, but do you really need this reader at this price? What do you guys think? Is it really worth to spend so much money to have it right now, since
I
you can
would
buy everything digitally? Yes, you would buy
No, I
some
would say
scalpers.
no. I like most of my games are digital. The only physical games I currently have are if I got a collector's edition, like Valkyria Chronicles over here. Where is that? Or Persona 5, or Final Fantasy 7 remake, or on the rare occasion that, like, for example, maybe for Christmas or a birthday, if my wife wants to buy me a game, um, then she'll get the physical version because, you can't wrap a digital game. But those are the only times I really use, for collecting, and that's basically it. I mean, other than that, I just do digital. So, I mean, if you're a big collector, then yeah, you're going to want one eventually. But there are so many games out there that you can play digitally. I would say I don't think there's too many people that their library is 100% digital. Or sorry, I don't think there's too many people that are 100%. And if you're on PlayStation, I mean, you probably have PlayStation Plus, and if you have even the base version, you get what, 3 free games a month. So you have digital games to play. So yeah, I would say just wait. It's not like you don't have anything to play while you're waiting. Yeah, don't encourage scalpers, because it's just gonna come back and bite us all later when they're like, oh, okay, this works. So yeah, just give it some time, wait, and a disk drive is not like a PS5. It's fairly easy to manufacture, so they're gonna make more, and it's not gonna take too long. So
And as you said, like, sorry, Korean, just before you start, most game now are digital. Like, look at Wukong, which was a very good, say, pretendant or competitor to be Game of the Year. It was released only digital, only after the fact, because the sales were so good and the reviews was so great. They decide to make a physical copy to release just before Christmas, because of course, right? But originally it was digital only, right? And I'm not sure if they really planned for a physical version. Maybe like, if we reach X amount of sale, then we'll do it. I think that's what happened. But you know, and with CDs, I get a lot of crashes with my Wukong. So maybe digital is more stable. I don't know.
No, I mean, for me, like, I wouldn't buy scalped things very often, but with certain things, yes. Like Adam mentioned, like collector's items. If there was a Command and Conquer, like, single player RTS game coming out, and it was like a digital edition, and it was, or a physical edition, and it was scalped, and somebody was like, yeah, so if you want this, it'll be like $300. I'll be like, yeah, take my money, no problem. There was just certain stuff, yeah, I would pay premium price or scalped price for like certain things. Not many things, but, and I know it's not good, and I definitely agree with what both of you guys said. Like, if you can wait, wait. But I am a somewhat of a materialistic person, and so some things, in whatever much life I have left, those things do bring me joy. When I turn around and I look, I'm like, oh, that's a shiny Batman. Yes. So yeah, no. I think, I think last year, like, God, I think 4 people our age passed away that I knew, and I'm like, yeah, if got you've got money and you want to buy something that's going to bring you a moment of joy or continuous moments of joy, why not? Right? Yeah. Um, on that scalping note, or not on that scalping note, a game I'm going to plug again because it is coming out at the end of this month, just in time for Chinese New Year, is Orcs Must Die Death Trap. And why I wanted to plug the story again is because I don't remember what happened, but my brothers and I were looking for a game to play. And I suggested Orcs Must Die. And then I was like, oh, I thought Orcs Must Die 3 is multiplayer, like more than 2 people, but it's not. It's only 2 people, despite having like 4 or 5 characters in the game. But the Orcs Must Die Death Trap is multiplayer for up to 4 people. So if you have 3 siblings or 4 siblings and anything more than 4 siblings, you're kind of out of luck. Yes, so it is coming out on January 29th, 2025. Guaranteed to come out. There's not going to be any delays. It's up to 4 people. It is a roguelite game. The one thing I will mention as well is we still don't know too much about what are the roguelite elements involved. We know that, of course, it's going to mean dying, and after you die, you get to sort of come back and do some things, right? And then do some upgrades and maybe change your character, buy some new traps in Orcs Must Die typical fashion. There are lots of traps, right? There's going to be if you watch the video, you'll see the typical ways of orcs dying and funny sounds and, visceral blood and graphics. So if you have some kids who are really young, probably not for them. It's looking great. It's probably going to be, again, it releases in 3 weeks according to Steam. It'll probably be about 20 to 30, I would say no, $20 to $40, I would say. I don't think it'll be more than $40. The Orcs Must Die games have never been $60, $70, $80 games in terms of price points. But it's just a really, really fun game to play with people. It's not a quick 3 to 4 hour game, but it's a game where you start off, right? If the 3 of us were playing, we'd probably do 1 to 2 levels in an hour, right? Which is my typical gaming session. Then as you get further down and you play the game, it'll become 1 level per gaming session. And the games are usually about 15 to 20 hours or so. And looks like with this game, right, there is different characters, so there's different ways. If you're somebody who just likes range and you don't want to get up in there, if you're somebody who wants to get up in there with like big hammers and fight people and chop them up into tiny little pieces, right, that is the game. That's an option for you with the new Orcs Must Die. It looks like it's fun, and if you're really looking for something like that's gonna be cooperative, right? It's not PvE, and it's not going to be overly hard. Like there are going to be times where like you fail a level because the orcs go through the portal. I can't even remember. It's been like 2 years since I played the last one, but basically where they like destroy the thing you're supposed to be defending, and you restart. And when you restart, it's like, okay, now I understand. I need to do this trap and this trap and this trap, and let's take it from there, right? Beautiful graphics. Again, at the same time, the system requirements are not too over the top, so it'll run on most people's computers with the recommended 16 gigabytes of RAM, a 3060 NVIDIA card, which is like, wow, 2 generations ago. So yeah, a wide variety of computers. It could be somebody with a computer and a few laptops. It's going to run on the Steam Deck for sure, if I'm not mistaken. Playable on Steam Deck, right? So playable on Steam Deck means that yes, you can play it on your portable hand devices. Keep an eye out for this year. If you're looking for a new cooperative game, I might be switching from Path of Exile 2 to that game, just because my friend was like, Path of Exile 2 is not as exciting as he expected. But that's it for me. Guys, final thoughts for today?
Yes, I just wanted to mention to everyone, because we haven't done a live show like this since mid-December or even before. During the festive season, we had a great thing. We are officially fully YouTube partners now. So thank you everyone for supporting us, like and subscribe and share. What you did, it helped us, and now we are full YouTube partners. Thank you so much. That means that in a week we got the awesome amount of $12. Go, guys. So we still a bit more for Adam to go full time, but on the way, it only took us 4 years, and we are definitely here for another 4. So I just wanted to say thank you very much. That's very nice of you to like our video and our content, and I really hope that you keep supporting us in the future. Anytime.
No. Yeah. Thanks for the watches. Yes. Yeah. I plan to. I'm debating whether I should stream Nine Souls or Freedom Wars Remastered. At least until Sin Duality comes out, and then I'm like, okay, if I've finished Nine Souls or Freedom Wars, do I switch to streaming Sin Duality or do I continue? So we'll see. Yes, it is finally out on console, so I finally get my copy. So, but I finally got my copy like right before I went on vacation, so I was like, no. But yeah, but I have it now, so on my PS5, so it's already downloaded and everything. I might start it today. Catch
Cheers.
you later.